Hello friends, I am back, and this section I am going to describe installing an Informix environment. So how to install the Informix databases, what are the pre-steps and post-steps, that all I will describe over here. So installing an Informix environment at a high level, below are the steps you can see on the screen. So pre-installation, installation, instance initialization, post initialization. Okay, I'm going to show you detailed steps how we are prepare for installing the software. First you need to create the user and groups. If you have Windows machine, then don't need to create any user and group, just run the setup.exe, then follow the next instruction. You will install the Informix softwares. So if you have a Linux or Unix environment, then you need to mention you record some port number should be mentioned in the etc services. Then you need to create some directories where you store the software and where you store the installing the software, means the bin directories. So you need to one is the software locations and another one is the where you have to install the software. There's two directory must you need to install. So Informix environment variable should be set in the home directories. So Informix server, Informix directory, path, config, unconfig, and Informix term and Informix SQL hosts. Then after that you just going to download the software and store in the respective directories. In there you need to untar or unzip or extract, whatever may be. Okay, and the main thing you need to set the kernel parameter, which where it is. So Informix directory release en us, then IDS, IDS machine underscore notes dot version dot txt, one of the file over there, and using that file we need to set with the environment. So this section I am going to explain what are the product in the Informix. Okay, so in the Informix have some application development tool. You can say Informix 4GL, Informix 4GL rapid development package, and Informix 4GL interactive debugger, and some SQL APIs, application program interfaces, like Informix SQL, Informix ESQL-C, Informix ESQL COBOL, Informix Connect, Informix CLA. For a database server, we have two options. One is the standard engine, another one is the IDS. Okay, means Informix Dynamic Server. So additional product is the ISM, one of the the best product, the CISM runtime facilities, Informix messages and corrections, Informix online optical, Informix enterprise gateway for DRDA, and Informix enterprise gateway manager. Okay, this all are details in the the product installation order of the Informix product installations. So this section we will show you the installation and instance initialization. So you need to going to the software directory, and there have two options. If you have Linux install server or IDS underscore install. If you have Windows, run the just double click on the setup.exe, then follow the steps. You need to edit the SQL hosts file as per the instruction. Then after that, the main things you need to edit the unconfig file. This is the major parameter I am putting here. One is the root name. What is root name? The name you want to give you your root database space. Then the root path, the path name to the raw or cooked file for your root TBS table space. Root offset, the number of kilobyte to be skipped from the beginning of root path, and the root size, the size allocated in the root path for root name. DB server name, the name of the Informix instance you entered in the SQL host. The net type, the type of network and the number of threads to pull for that network. Multiprocessor, where or not the machine is the multiprocessor, right? Then number of CPU virtual processors. The number of CPU virtual processors, one of the things, and then single CPU virtual processor, you need to mention there. What is that? Whether whether or not the number of CPU virtual processor, it is limited to 1. Then there the number of AIO VPS, the number of IO VPS. So message log, you can say your alert log or error log in SQL Server like that. Console log, console stops will be recording over there in the console log. Okay, next slide. Then after doing the this onconfig file, you need to save that one. Then you need to initialize the instance. Initialize instance is the command is on init -i. When you enter the on init -i, it will be initialization. The practical step I will show you in the next section. Don't worry about that. But here I am just describe all the details and the required, how to install and what are the virtual processor and what is the threads. That all details I will explain and showing you for the information. Okay. So post installation, what we are doing, verify the installation using DBAccess tools. DBAccess, you can access the databases, default databases or not, and you can you are able to create the database or not. Something, you are able to fetch the data or not. You need to test that one. So this slide I am going to show you virtual processor. What is virtual processor? The database server processors are called virtual processor because the way they function is similar to the way that a CPU functions in a computer. Just as a CPU runs multiple operating system processes to service multiple users, a database server virtual processor runs multiple threads to service multiple SQL client applications. A virtual processor is a process that the OS scheduler for processing. You can see on the screen, how it will work in the virtual processor. So client machine then connect to the through virtual processor, it will connect to the CPU and then going to the database server. Okay, what are the advantages of the virtual processor? If you compare to a database server processor that service a single client application, the dynamic multi-thread nature of the database server virtual processor provides the following advantages. What are that advantages? The virtual processors can share processing. Virtual processors save memory and resources. Virtual processors can perform parallel processing. You can start additional virtual processor and terminate active virtual processor while the database server is running. It's the best. It's the very interesting. Okay, so you can bind virtual processor to a CPU also. At any given of time, a virtual processor can run only one thread. A virtual processor service multiple threads concurrently by switching between them. How to monitor? The onStart command is the one of the best command. You can monitor the whole Informix, databases, Informix instance also. In onStart -g glo, it's the monitoring the virtual processor. Adding or dropping, you can use onMode command. Okay, I will show you details on the practical sections, don't worry about that. So net type protocol, thread, connection, VP all related to the virtual processors. What is thread? If you come to the Linux or Unix, a thread is a task that the virtual processor schedule internally for the processing. If you come to the Windows, a thread is a task that the virtual processor schedule internally for processing, because the virtual processor is implemented as a Windows thread. Database server threads run within the Windows thread. What is user thread? User thread is a database server thread that service request from the client applications. And you can take the example session threads, called SQL threads, and which are primary threads that the database server runs to the service client applications. Onstart is the best command to monitor this one. Onstart -u to display active user threads. Major type of virtual processor, CPU, central processing, run all session threads, AIO, PIO, LIO, SHM, like that. Okay, this is the whole structure how virtual processor working on the DB server. You can see, right, the client connection, client applications are connecting to the thread or virtual processing like AIO, CPU, and one of the layer is the data blade. Okay, FAI is then coming to the DB server, and you can store in the number, date, text, audio, graphic, whatever may be. Okay, so how to monitor? This is the command onstart -g ath print all the threads, onstart -g glo, virtual processor and cumulative statistics. Alternatively, you can query sys vp prof table. Onstart -g iok display the io thread, length of the io queues, and onstart -g rea to monitor the number of threads in the ready queue. Okay, so thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Next session I will show you some basics things with some practical sections. So please subscribe this and waiting for the next session. Thank you.